New York Times. OpenAI unites with Jony Ive, legendary Apple designer, responsible for the MacBook, iPods, iPhones, and shit. Original one is linking up with OpenAI. $6.5 billion deal to create AI devices. Now, in short, from what I've been able to read online, the AI devices are most likely going to be something wearable or something that is audio based. Because I'm assuming, because a lot of people like myself are using AI like ChatGPT as like a de facto search engine, or like, but you're using it in a communicative way, in a you know, is that communicative? Like you're kind of talking to it to get to the best answer, get to the best request. You're not just asking straight up questions. So I think with that, you could probably get away with it being audio based. You don't really need a screen. You don't really need it to be a smartphone. You could get away with like having like a Google Home like device that you could just speak to. Maybe use certain catchphrases, certain words to wake it up, and then have a conversation with it. That'll probably be the way. There's actually a video going around that OpenAI did, a promo video with Jony Ive and Sam Altman, and they're speaking about the deal. It's kind of 9 minutes of nothing, by the way. It's really good. If you're interested in how founders speak, and I've had it before with other founders that I've kind of had conflict with back in the day, who just say a lot without saying anything. They just use a lot of words just to fill up time, and it always sounds good, you know. And they do that upspeak thing, you know, that kind of thing what they do, right? Which is really annoying. But in this video, they don't really say much, but people are fucking hypothesizing or speculating, sorry, that maybe the glasses that Jony Ive is wearing might be the first device in this partnership. Some people are saying the entire video that features Sam Altman and Jony Ive is freaking made with AI itself. It's a completely AI generated video. Some people are suggesting that. I'm not too sure about that, but regardless, $6.5 billion deal to create AI devices, man. It just goes to show that although AI is where it's at the moment, nobody can replace or nobody can replicate Jony Ive's ideas and the way that he designs, you know, which is interesting, right? You say that. This guy's like, oh, welcome it all. Welcome to techno overlords. Welcome all this fucking evolution, devolution, whatever it is. But then there are still industrial designers, product designers like Jony Ive, somebody that I look up to as a designer, obviously having studied product design myself. But most of my main hero, my main people that I kind of looked for when I went to go study product design in Central St. Martin's was Seymour Powell. It's a product design, industrial design studio. I think it's based out here in London, if I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's London. Run by these two guys called Dick Seymour and Richard Powell, or the other way around, Richard Seymour, Richard Powell, whatever, two guys. And they're incredible industrial designers. I think they're also responsible for helping out with the Dyson and shit, like credible. So it goes to show that although AI is where it's at, like humans, like me and you, are still necessary with this, because like Jony Ive is still that guy when it comes to design, so they still needed him to kind of push this thing forward. And at the moment, we haven't really got an AI device that's kind of like broke through and really took AI to the masses. So it's courtesy of the New York Times. Let's quickly read it. The rise of the artificial intelligence has profoundly altered technology, upending how software is created, how people search for information, and how images and videos can be generated. What the technology has yet to do, though, is find a preferred form of physical everyday gadgets. AI largely remains a domain of apps on phones, despite efforts of startups or others to move into devices. OpenAI, the world's leading AI lab, is taking a crack at that riddle. On Wednesday, Sam Altman, OpenAI's chief executive, said the company was paying $6.5 billion to buy IO, a one-year-old startup created by Jony Ive, a former top Apple executive who designed the iPhone. Most likely, you know what's funny about this, right? Most likely, Jony Ive set up IO with the sole intention for it to get bought out anyway. That was always the plan. Most likely, he set up this startup, probably designed some products, got people to sign presented it to companies, got them to sign NDAs and said, hey, we want to do this for you. And most likely OpenAI saw what Jony Ive was designing and thought, you know what, we can't let this guy go anywhere else. We have to keep him here. So I like when that shit happens, when some companies have the idea of like, hey, we're going to start this with the sole intention of it being bought out one day. The all-stock deal, which effectively unites Silicon Valley's royalty, is intended to usher in what the two men call a new family of products for the age of artificial general intelligence, or AGI, which shorthand for the future technology that achieves human level intelligence. The only sad thing about this I don't think Steve Jobs would ever let this happen. That's the only sad thing about this. Like, in what world would Steve Jobs allow Sam Altman to come along, take over AI, you know, be the kind of the main guy when it comes to AI and shit, especially ChatGPT, maybe brand wise, maybe not in terms of usage, because I think I still use Grok and DeepSeek a lot more than I use ChatGPT, but still, when you think of when you think of AI, you think of open AI, and it's not really open, but you know what I mean. I don't think Steve Jobs would ever allow this. I think Steve Jobs would have fought tooth and nail to either. I'm not sure if Jony Ive left Apple while Steve Jobs was still there. I'm not too sure how the law goes, but I think he would have fought tooth and nail to bring Jony Ive back to Apple, or to have him there, just to keep him there under lock and key. I don't think he leaves, but you know, Apple isn't what they used to be, so I guess we are where we're at. There's Sam Altman there. The deal, which is OpenAI's biggest acquisition, will bring Mr. Ive and his team of roughly 55 engineers and researchers. Love From will assume creative and design responsibilities across OpenAI and build hardware that helps people better interact with their technology. So I guess Love From is the overarching company that oversees IO. In a joint interview, Mr. Ive and Altman declined to say what the devices would look like and how they might work, but they have said that they hope to share the details next year. Mr. I-58 framed the ambitious as galactic, with the aim of creating amazing products that elevate humanity. By the way, we don't have that a lot anymore, and I wish, hopefully they're able to keep this under lock and key, and we don't hear about it until it's actually ready. I miss the days of like shock drops when it comes to tech. Nowadays, you know about everything before it drops. It always leaks, whether it's through some fucking case company in Asia that leaks the spec of something. Like things always leak before. I miss the days when things were actually secret and they dropped when they dropped, and we all found out together all at the same time. That'd be fucking amazing. We've been waiting the next big thing for 20 years, says Mr. Altman. We want to bring people something beyond the legacy products we've all been using for so long. Mr. Altman and Mr. Ive are effectively looking beyond the smartphone, which has been signature people's device since the iPhone debuted in 2007. If the two men succeed, it is a very big if, they could spur what is known as the ambient computing. Rather than typing and taking photographs of smartphones, future devices like pendants, glasses that use AI could process the world in real time, fielding questions and analyzing images and sounds in a seamless way. Yeah, I think that's what. So it's probably going to be something similar to that AI pin, but I have a feeling it'll be some sort of thing that you can speak to, like an orb, a pod, a speaker, something in that way. Maybe it'll project a screen similar to, like, you know, Star Wars way, right? Maybe some screen will pop up in it or something, but I don't think it'll be anything else other than that. I don't think it's going to be wearable technology. If it was, they would have said it already. I think it's definitely going to be some sort of thing you can put on the table. Mr. Altman has invested in Humane, a company that pursued this kind of vision with the creation of AI, but the startup folded not long after its product flopped, which is unfortunate, because I think the idea was pretty cool. Humane AI pin, when we can kind of compute with it, like using your fingers and shit. I thought that was pretty cool, but unfortunately execution didn't really work, and maybe the business behind it was also kind of shit. In their interview, Mr. Ive expressed some misgivings with the iPhone and said that he motivated him to team up with Mr. Altman. I showed a lot of responsibility for what these things have brought us, he said, referring to the anxiety, distractions that come with being constantly connected to your computer. Mr. Altman echoed the sentiment. I don't feel good about my relationship with my technology, he says, right now. It feels a lot like being jolted on a crowded street in New York, or being bombarded with notifications and flashing lights in Las Vegas. He said the goal was to leverage AI to help people make some sensible noise. By the way, man, they're just saying this now. There will come a time when AI is going to be... Remember Google, when it first launched? Google search, how good it was. There will come a point where fucking AI will be flooded with ads. Don't kid yourself. These guys are talking now, and they're trying to be fucking all altruistic and shit, and they're trying to be all sensitive and shit, and they're trying to, try to connect with us regular civilians and act the way they are. But very soon you'll fucking have ads. You know, like that thing in that episode of Black Mirror where that lady, I don't know, she gets brain dead, and then they activate a part of her brain, but then she has to get a certain data plan to have it not have ads and shit. That's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be like that. AI is gonna be flooded with ads very, very soon. Don't doubt it. If they find a way, they're gonna find, if the money's good enough anyway, they'll find a way. As part of the deal, Mr. Ive said in his design studio Love Form will remain independent and continue to work on projects separate. Okay, so they made it very clear Sam Altman's not buying or investing into Jony Ive's studio. That's remaining independent. It's IO, which is one thing that came out of that studio. That's why being a dreamer and a designer and trying to actually create the world, like I think there's like famous Steve Jobs quote, right, about trying to create the future, or trying to create the future as you see it in real time, is actually super inspirational and very motivating, and also very achievable, because these regular people like you and I, living, breathing organisms, are out here doing just that. Jony Ive built this design studio, and this one arm, this one faction of this design studio called IO has now been bought for 6.5 billion and will now usher in this new generation of devices, because don't doubt yourself, whatever they do, the whole industry will follow and copy. So this is fucking amazing. Really fucking cool to see. Scott Cannon, Evan Hankey, Tang Tan, who also founded IO with Mr. Ive, will become OpenAI's employees and report to Peter Willinder, a vice president of product, who will oversee IO division. The acquisition is a significant windfall for Mr. Ive. OpenAI already owned 23% stake of IO as part of an agreement between the two companies end of last year. Two people with knowledge of the deal said it's now paying around $5 billion to fully acquire the startup. Jesus Christ. OpenAI separately has a startup fund that invested in Mr. Ive's last startup last year, and the deal was subject to regulatory approval. The New York Times has sued OpenAI for OpenAI is set off an AI boom in 2020 when it released ChatGPT chatbot. In March, the startup completed $40 billion funding that's valued at $300 billion, making it one of the world's most valuable private companies. The fundraising round was led by Japanese conglomerate SoftBank. So yeah, let's see how it goes, man. I'm really looking forward to it, what they do. I think it's going to be fucking amazing. Jony Ive is one of the best legendary designers of all time. I'm sure when he does put his mind to it and create this fucking new AI gadget tool, whatever it's going to be fucking amazing. And I'm also hoping it's going to usher in this new trend of people trying to create devices specifically for AI that don't really work the same way smartphones work. So maybe in future you could possibly replace your, which won't require you to be online as much, because I feel like my phone is like literally an extension of my arm nowadays. You know what I mean? It's never not in my hand, and I'm really getting annoyed by that sort of stuff. I'm already kind of weaning myself off certain apps like Instagram and shit, but I'm still on my phone too much. I don't have certain apps on my main screen that kind of help things, but I think I need to kind of just still take a step back. But it's really hard. So maybe these devices could be a little bit of a stopgap in between. Maybe they can be a bit of a stopgap in between. Maybe, just maybe, there can be a bit of a stopgap in between. We hope and pray. We pray and hope. We hope and pray. We pray and hope.